One.
One.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Viva Los Bills. I'm your host Will Cologne, aka Buffalo Will, and I'm joined by cousin Vinny.
What's going on, fellas? What's up? What's up?
And like always, we have Bobby Blackjack in the background producing the show. Right now, we're live on I-95 Sports Network and channel 198 on Zingo TV. Now we got that out of the way. Let's get into it. So we have some news, some of the stuff that happened during this week till this point. On Monday, the Bills lost a former defensive end, Ben Williams. He passed away at the age of 65. He was also known as Gentle Ben. He played his entire career with the Bills from 1976 to 1985. Ben was a third-round pick out of Ole Miss in 1976 and was the first African-American ever drafted out of Ole Miss. Another thing, not only that, but in 1997, he was the first African-American from Ole Miss to be introduced into the Mississippi State Sports Hall of Fame. He also endowed the Ben Williams Minority Scholarship Fund at Ole Miss in 1992. He started that. And another thing, Bruce Smith always mentioned Williams as one of the guys who helped him his rookie year with his technique. I never really saw Ben Williams, or I don't remember him. Vinny, did you ever get to watch him?
No,
do you remember anything?
Before my time. I mean, he was like in the 70s, early 70s, 73. But you pretty much touched base on everything about him. The only thing I have that you didn't mention is that when he played at Ole Miss in college, he was a sack leader with he's actually the sack leader with 37. He has a single season record of 18 in 1973. So it was a little bit before my time. I remember, with the OJ and all that stuff. So I was a little kid, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
Rest in peace, my brother. Thank you for being a Buffalo Bill, and thank you for everything, man. It's kind of sad news when you get news of a former player passing on.
Yeah. Well, rest in peace and condolences to family and so forth. Second thing on the list, Ed Oliver. We saw what happened. We watched those other numbskulls last week come up with a live feed, that breaking news. And we're like, okay, Giant, Washington Redskin, whatever. And then our own Ed Oliver gets in trouble being under the influence and having an unregistered gun, I believe. He still will take part in the team's virtual off-season program, but as we know, there's going to be a suspension. How long is a suspension? Hopefully 2, maybe 3 games. Hopefully not that much.
I think it's probably going to be a 2-game suspension. Hopefully he learns from his mistake. I know he had a DUI. I don't think it's illegal in the state of Texas to have an unregistered gun, but since he was under the influence, now that it becomes a crime. So we're going to see how that plays out. Hopefully it'll be a 2-game suspension, and he learns from his mistake, because I know Coach McDermott ain't going to put up with it either, so we see how that's going to pan out.
And it doesn't help that, you're going to lose the guy for 2 to 3 games. That's a position, you're counting this guy on to possibly start this year, which probably is not going to happen for 2 or 3 games. And it hurts the team. So
absolutely,
it stinks. Another thing, Zach Moss is still yet to sign. He's the only rookie that has not signed yet. Besides that, I want to wish Josh Allen a happy birthday today. He turns 24 years old.
24, still a baby. That's good. He's still learning. But didn't Zach Moss work out with Josh Allen in Florida somewhere?
Yes, that's the one good thing. He is working out with Josh Allen and Davis. So, and a few other guys. I believe it was Barkley and the other receiver or rookie. What is it? Hodgins.
Yeah.
Yep, Hodgins. So, our show today. Yeah, that we got over the little news right there. Our show today is our own favorite Bills, like our starting offense, our starting defense. Not the greatest all time, but our favorites of all time.
Not statistically the best, just our personal favorites. So you're probably going to agree to disagree. Me and you are probably going to agree on probably 90% of the guys. But like Will said, it's our personal preference in terms of the teams that we would put together.
So there's going to be people saying, hey, he wasn't the best there, or this guy wasn't the best. but
I'm
that's
gonna be
not what
honest
I'm.
with you. I'm not gonna go anything into the AFL era. It's gonna be post 73, 74. I'm gonna be 50, so I'm a little bit older than you will.
Yeah.
So, I remember OJ kind of a little bit, but past that, beyond, before that, it's all a blur, buddy. It's all a blur.
And I'm in the same group, so I'm in the same boat. I mean, yeah, you've seen some highlights of the older guys and so forth, but I really can't tell you anything about that.
Yes, sir.
I'm going, like I said, off the guys I know that I've seen play and so forth. So with that said, where you want to start, man? You want to start on offense or you want to start on defense? I'll let you
Let's
pick.
start defense, man. Let's start defense.
All right.
See what you got.
So here we go on defense. I guess we'll go position by position. So we're going to pick two defensive ends. I think we both are going to agree on this guy, Bruce Smith. To me, the best defensive end of all time. There's always the argument with him and Reggie, but the difference to me is that Bruce always played on a 3-4, and towards the end of his career, I think when he was in Washington, sad to say he went over there, they played in a 4-3. I think if Bruce played in a 4-3 and had the same talent around him that Reggie had, I think Bruce would easily have 20 to 30 more sacks.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. This guy was a beast. I mean, he's the best, in my opinion, he's the best Buffalo Bill to ever put on a jersey. That's my all-time number one player for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, this guy was a beast. He's 6'4", 280. And just his game speed, man. His speed was just unbelievable, and the way he attacked. Like I said, he's, to me personally, is the best player to wear a Buffalo Bills jersey.
I'm not going to argue. The guy, for being so big, was so fast coming off the edge and hitting people. Now, for my other DN, I'm going to pick Aaron Schroebel. I always liked Aaron when he was there. I don't know if he really had that much help on the outside. Can't really remember offhand who was opposing on the opposite side of him. I think at one point it was Marcellus Wiley, but Marcellus really didn't stay there that long. He ended up picking up and leaving. So to me, my starting two would be Bruce and Aaron. Who do you have on the other edge?
Ooh, that's a good call. And I was tossed up between him and my man, Phil Hansen. All right.
Mm-hmm.
He was drafted in the second round, 1991. He played on 3 Super Bowl teams. He set records in North Dakota State University with 41 regular sacks and 32 pass breakups, and actually started on a Division II national team in 1988, 1990. He had a total of 61.5 sacks for the Bills, and he was inducted into the Bills Wall of Fame on September 18, 2011. So that to me would complement by Bruce Smith on the other side.
Yeah, I always liked Phil Hansen. He was one of those meat and potato kind of guys, like you say, or working class guys. Did he get as much recognition as he probably should have? Maybe not, but his numbers weren't all that great. But he never quit. He played every down.
He had the motor. Absolutely.
Listen, he was like when I told you before we were talking, he was a guy I wanted to say also, but Aaron had better numbers to me. Also, another guy I would like to add, but also on this list, guys, I'm not picking guys who were there for 1 year, maybe 2 years, maybe. I don't like guys, homegrown guys. Another guy we could have put there was Mario Williams, where he came, and I forgot he played for 4 years with us. I didn't think it was that long. That guy's a monster too, even though it was towards the end of his career. I saw Mario Williams. For a lot of people who don't know, I sometimes worked the Jets games and the Giant games, and I saw Mario Williams after, I think it was a Jet Dolphins game or something. Maybe.
Huge.
He's huge. Not just tall, but big. Freaking guy's like a tree. Now, being that the Bills played 3-4, I went with a 3-4 type defense. So I only picked one defensive tackle with another honorable mention, let's say, that I liked, even though we had a few. The one guy just retired, Kyle Williams. That was my pick as starting defensive tackle. What about you?
Oh man, I got Pat Williams, man. Big old Pat Williams.
Okay. Pat Williams was there, 4 years or something? How long was he?
He was actually was there for 7 years. He was with the Bills for 7 years.
Okay.
Came out of Monroe, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
This dude was huge, 6'3", 317. He went undrafted in 1997 NFL draft, and he signed with the Bills as an undrafted free agent the same year. He just played one game in his rookie season, but 98, 2000, he was a regular contributor, and he didn't become a starter till like 2001. And he was the most overlooked, ignored, and hardworking players to me. You know what I'm saying? He was just crazy, man. I liked him. He actually in his first interception, he returned it for a touchdown, picking off AJ Feely back in December of 2004. This guy was a beast, man. I liked him a lot. Big guy, run stuffer, awesome. I liked him, and so that's why I picked him as one of my DTs.
No, he was one of those guys I was looking at. He was always a monster, and then he even went on to have even a better career over there in Minnesota. You know,
Yes,
that
he
guy
did.
was a beast. The guy I had on as my honorable mention was another Williams, Ted Williams. Ted Williams, you know, I like these big, huge guys to be filling at the
Yes, sir.
defensive tackle position. Again, another game I was working one time was the Jets against the Bills. And I always said I used to watch the games, and like to me back in the day when Urlacher was in the Bears and Briggs,
Yeah.
to me that team was the most jacked team. But I saw the two biggest guys to me. It was Ted Washington and Sam Adams standing side by side. That had to be almost 900 pounds of human right there. And I was like, my God. Like I played running back in high school, and I was like,
right there.
yep, there it is.
That's
Washington.
my man. That's my other tackle.
I saw those guys.
Right there.
And I was
that was a whole bunch of beef online right there, man.
I was like, just imagine trying to run into those guys. It's insane. You know, those guys were big, huge monsters. So moving on from defensive tackle, we're going to go.
So that was my
out.
one, by the way. Ted Washington. That was my other tackle right there.
Oh, was it? We're going to go to outside linebackers. Again, my favorite, one of my favorites. I had a few linebackers. We had some good linebackers throughout the years, or players I like. I had to go with Biscuit, Cornelius Bennett. One outside. You know, should we do both outside linebackers and go from there? And then you do your two?
We go. Yeah, we can. I mean, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
so my other linebacker, my other outside linebacker was Bryce Pop. He came from the Packers, but that was my other guy outside linebacker. So I had Biscuit, Cornelius Bennett, and Bryce Pop on my other outside linebacker. Who'd you have?
Sir. I'm with you with Cornelius Bennett and Bryce Pop, and I also added Darryl Talley. I already had Darryl Talley also.
Talley played inside though, didn't he?
Yeah. You got your outside.
Yeah, I just did outside linebackers.
Okay. I got you. That's who I got. I got Cornelius Bennett, Bryce Pop.
Okay, so we had the same. So now, middle linebackers, I went with Darryl Talley and London Fletcher. I got actually London Fletcher's jersey on right now. I know he wasn't a homegrown Bills guy, but he came over in free agency, played a few years with us, and the guy was a monster in the middle before heading off to, I believe it was Washington. One thing I got to say, dude, I wasn't a big fan of Darryl Talley in the 90s. Like, to me,
really?
it was always Biscuit. It was Bruce, you know, all the main guys. And I always looked at Darryl Talley like, come on, man. Until one day I was sitting there.
I thought he was a ball. I mean,
until one point I sat there and I heard this guy's numbers. And I was like, really? Holy crap. I never gave him the credit he deserved, you know, in his career. Yeah, my buddy Kyle here, Paul Posluszny. Yes, I like Paul Posluszny. He's another guy. But hold on.
What was the other guy? What was the one we talked about? The linebacker that he played with, I think, a year or two.
Yes, the one guy I could have put here that I wanted to put, I think he would have even had a better career if he would have stayed, was Chris Spielman. Chris Spielman came over from the Detroit Lions a little later in his career, and his wife ended up, sad to say, getting cancer. And he said he was giving up his career because she was there for him the whole time. And he gave it up to be there for her during her time. So Chris Spielman ended up cutting his career short to be with his wife, which, hey, family first. Yeah. Another guy I actually liked that I didn't put on here was Takeo Spikes. When he left Cincinnati, I was like, hopefully we can sign him. They did. He had a few good years with us. Then he tore his Achilles. We ended up letting him go. No, but he ended up having a good career over there in San Diego afterwards.
Mhm.
So those were my two. Like you said, Chris was one of my honorable mentions, and I wanted to throw in
Yeah.
Takeo
Chris,
Spikes.
Chris Field was mine too, and like I said, Darryl Talley. But what I liked about him, he played 14 seasons, man, in 4 Super Bowls. They never missed a game in
Yeah,
12 years with the Bills. So that's what I like about some of these players that I'm mentioning. I mean, it's
yeah,
not really about the numbers, it's just about the consistency and their drive and how they play football. And to me, that's awesome to play 14 seasons, 12 years with the Bills and actually never miss a game. So that to me is very important. So that's why I like our team the way it's put together. It's a nitty, ground and pound type of team, guys that are blue collar that are just there to work. Like
yeah.
Ronnie Lott, whatever happened with his string, he's like, cut it off. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I like guys
Yeah.
like that. Just let's just ball. You know what I mean? Not like, no, you know what? I'm not even going to go there with LeBron with the flopping and everything. I'm not even going to go there. That's another sport. So we'll leave that alone. But I like the hard nosed guys that are consistent.
Yes. No, man, and that's the thing. Tally, like I said, until I heard his numbers during one of the games, somebody brought him up, and I was like, damn, I never gave
Mhm.
this guy the respect he actually
Yeah.
deserved. So those are all linebackers right there. We agreed on Cornelius, Bryce Pop, Darryl Talley. I went with London Fletcher, and you went with Chris Spielman, I think it was.
Yeah. Spoon.
Spielman. And it was a sad, like to say, he only played, I think, 1 year for us, right?
But he was a baller. Yeah, man. I
Oh,
just his
no,
whole attitude. I love the guy.
yeah, he was a beast. He's like that old school kind of football player.
Yes, sir. I was so
Well,
happy when he came from Detroit and everything, when he did what he did, but it was so sad.
yeah,
His wife was the one that had cancer, right? That he had to leave.
yes.
It was his
Yep.
wife.
Yep, his wife. She ended up having cancer, and he said, "I'm going to be by
He
her
was
side
done.
through this." Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, look at this
Listen,
cup. What?
nice. Well,
This actually came from Buffalo. The only time I went for a game. Uh,
now I'm actually thirsty. Oh, God, let me get something to drink, please.
now we're going to move over to cornerback.
All
Uh,
right.
One of my favorites back in the day. Again, this was another guy I didn't even know like his numbers, but I always liked him watching him back in the '90s. Was Nate Odoms. Nate Odoms was one of my favorite guys back in the day, and I mean he was a two-time Pro Bowl selection, member of Bills all-time team. He led the Bills twice with interceptions, and he has 26 picks, ranks fifth in Bills history. His 9 picks in 1993 tied for the second highest single season in team history. Nate, to me, was, he was a little baller.
Yeah.
But Nate would be on one of my starting sides and probably one of the only guys I have. Well, that's not true. One of the guys playing right now. I think Tre'Davious White. If he stays in Buffalo, if they sign him like they should, pay the guy the money, I think he's going to be one of our best ever corners. The guy right now, to me, is ahead of where Stephon Gilmore was. There you go. And he's getting better, man. He's just getting better. To me, he's top 5 corner in the league.
Who are you
So
talking about? Trey Wayne?
Tre'Davious White, yeah.
He's top 3, easy. Easy top 3, man.
I
I
wouldn't
don't know
doubt.
about top 5. I think he's way beyond top 5. He's a baller, and I'm glad we got him for another 2 years. So let's see where it goes. Let's see how it goes, man.
But
If I think he's gonna have a breakout year, and Josh is gonna be a tremendous help on the other side, Norman. And
yeah,
I think we're gonna have a balling out defense this year.
and I think, like I said, I was saying, I think Tre'Davious, man, they were already talking about signing his extension, so hopefully that happens. Who do you have on your line for your 2 corners?
I got Trey White also, and I got Mr. Antoine Winfield.
Oh,
I don't know if you-
Antoine Whitfield. What was
Yeah,
he out
played
of
4
Ohio
years
State,
for.
wasn't he?
Yeah, yep, at Ohio State. He was first round, 23rd pick of the 99 draft, 3-time Pro Bowler, second team All Pro. The only thing out of that when he left, he actually played better for Minnesota. So, it's like you kind of get these guys that play with us and you kind of root for them. And then when they leave, you're like, they must have left for a reason or whatever the case may be. And then you see them flourish, on another team. But, I like this guy. Like I said, he was a 3-time Pro Bowler, man, and just an awesome player. That's why I picked him as one of my cornerbacks.
Yeah, I actually had him as one of my honorable mentions, and also had Nate Clement. Nate Clement was another beast. I thought, man, during our times, we have seen some good corners for the
Yes,
Bills,
sir.
and I can't say we haven't. Uh, moving on to strong safety. This is one of the guys I used to like. I thought he was one of those hard hitting guys. Maybe he wasn't the best cover guy or whatever, but I always liked this guy. Number 20 from back in the 90s, Henry Jones.
Hmm. You going old school.
Yeah, who do you have as strong safety?
Well, I got Mark Kelso. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I know Mark Kelso with the big helmet that looked like the zoo.
Yeah. Number 38, Mark Kelso, man, who was a baller. 30 interceptions for his career, 320 interception return yard, two touchdowns. This guy was a baller. He was a hard-nosed baller. He actually was selected by the Philadelphia Eagles, and I believe there was like a trade. There was a trade or something. I can't recall back then. But anyway, he played 8 NFL seasons with the Buffalo Bills from 1986 to 93. His best performance as a pro came in 1988 when he had 7 intercepted passes for 180 yards and 1 touchdown. And he also appeared. He was one of the guys that came in and played also for all 4 of the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
he was known, like you said, for the big helmet. They used to call it a pro cap, which is used to reduce the risk of concussions back in the day. But what did you describe? You said the big helmet.
Look like a zoo from the Flintstones.
Yeah. They used to call that a pro cap.
Yeah,
I agree. That used to reduce the risk of concussions back in the day.
But I remember he used to use it mainly. I remember he used to use it mainly because he used to suffer from migraines, and they would think that would keep him from getting the migraines.
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
I always liked him. He was a good player. A guy I picked was for free safety was Jarius Byrd. I always liked Jarius Byrd, but he ended up leaving when free agency came. But to me, he might have been one of our best free safeties while he played. There you go. Is that who you picked too for your starting free safety?
That's who I got. That's who I got. That's my man right there, man. I think his career was cut short though. He had what season was that? I think it was in his rookie year. Was cut short by an injury, even though he was voted for the Pro Bowl, a second T-ball Pro. Even though he was the season was short by injury. That was in 2009. I don't know. Something happened with the team back then. They put they paid a franchise tag on him. I think it was in 2013, and then he wound up leaving and going to the Saints. He signed a 6-year deal with the Saints.
He wanted a lot of money.
Knee issues and stuff like that, but he was a baller, man.
Yeah, I mean, he played from 2009 to 2013. He was a 3-time pro selection and 5 seasons with the Bills. And he's tied for 10th with 22 interceptions. And he only did that in a few seasons with them. So just imagine, he led the NFL with 9 picks in 2009. He was a member of the NFL's all-rookie team. He ended up leaving because he wanted money. And that was it. They didn't have the money to pay him what he wanted. And he took up and left. Can't really blame him. Would have liked if he would have stayed, but he didn't. My honorable mentions for free safety and strong safety would have been Poyer and Hyde. I don't know what happened to Vinny. We lose Vinny over here. I might be flying solo here, Bobby. I don't know what happened to Vinny. Don't let me know. So anyway, I'll keep going here, being that Vinny's not here right now.
I'll get him on in a second.
All right. For everybody out there, I would have taken Poyer and Hyde to me right now. These guys are on track to be, to me, one of the top 2 pairs in Bills history if they keep playing the way they are. They have great chemistry. They know where the other one is. They always seem to be in the right place, and they just keep getting better, So that's my starting defense right there. So going down again, I'll recap my starting defensive line would have been Aaron Schobel with the man Bruce Smith, Kyle Williams at the tackle. Outside linebackers would have been Cornelius Bennett, Bryce Pop. Middle linebackers would have been Darryl Talley, London Fletcher. There you are, Vinny. I'm recapping my starting defensive lineup.
It's storming over here, man.
So, yeah. Just to recap again, middle linebacker was Darryl Talley, London Fletcher, cornerback Nate Onums, Tre'Davious White, safeties Henry Jones and Jarius Byrd. You want to recap your teams there?
On defense, yes, sir. I had Bryce Pop as linebacker, Pat Williams as a tackle, Bruce Smith as an end, tackle Ted Washington, cornerback Trey White, Antoine Wilson also as a cornerback, Darryl Talvey as the other linebacker, Phil Hansen as the defensive end, safety Mark Kelso, safety Jarius Byrd, another linebacker, Cornelius Bennett.
There you
and
go.
You know who I didn't pick? You know who I didn't pick?
Who's that?
For cornerback, Vontae Davis.
Yeah. Who walked off?
That's who I didn't pick. That's
Yeah.
the guy who quit on us halftime against the Chargers. He didn't want to come back on. He was tired.
That guy had all the talent in the world, and what the hell happened? All right, so that's our defense. Yeah, that's our defense. Yeah, Kyle, Phil Hansen was good. We hit on him early. Just didn't get all the recognition. For me, he was an honorable mention. Vinny had him starting. So there you go. All right, now we're going to move on to offense. Again, there's going to be a few guys here we're all going to know, and we're going to start off with quarterback. And I think we both agree with the man, the guy who cried for going to Buffalo, but ended up going there and loves it now, and one of the best of all time, Jim Kelly.
Kelly's the man. That's who I got. 6'3", 226, out of Miami, Florida. Came out of Miami University. He was selected by the Bills in the first round of 1983 draft. Was taken 14th overall, and he employed the K-gun offense, which is known for its no huddle. Yes. And go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep going. That's it.
He was. He from 1990 to 93, he helped guide the Bills to a record 4 Super Bowls, as you know. Even though we lost each game, the only 2 teams that have ever done that before to get to 3 straight was the Miami Dolphins with Bob Griese and the New England Patriots with Tom Brady. But and his number 12 was the only jersey of 3 numbers that were retired by the Buffalo Bills. This dude is Buffalo Bills right there. Jim Kelly exemplifies what it is to be a Buffalo Bill. Love the guy. He's still real strong, deep rooted into Buffalo. He's mentoring Josh right now and everything. So I'm looking forward to see what role he does with Josh and how it's going to play out.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Kelly. I got to meet him once when he was at Madison Square Garden when he was getting his chemo done in New York. Really cool guy. Got to talk to him. Another thing, he still goes to almost every damn Bills game. He's there. He's part of it. He still has his football camp every year. The guy's the man. He's the man. You know, he is Buffalo football.
I mean, if you go down the list, he's a 5-time Pro Bowler, first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro. He led the NFL in passing touchdowns in 1991. His number was retired, and he's in the Buffalo Bills Wall of Fame. I mean, there's nothing else to be said about the man. That's my quarterback.
Yeah, he was a beast. Another one thing I just want to say real quick, Kyle. Yep. See, I don't remember Jack Kemp. Kyle remembers Jack Kemp. And another thing I want to say,
are you trying to say Kyle's old?
No, Kyle's actually around my age, so I guess. But Kyle was born in Buffalo, so he's been a Buffalo Bill fan forever. His parents are big Bill fans. My buddy Dave Brown, I just want to say thanks for tuning in. The guy's a Minnesota Viking fan, and he always shows up. What's this, Thurman Thompson? It's Thurman Thomas. Come on, Dave. All right, let's move on to running back. My starting running back was just mentioned by Dave. Thurman Thomas. I mean, to me, he's one of my favorite Bills of all time. The guy, to me, was the best all-around running back for many years until I believe, let's say, Marshall Faulk took it over. You know, this guy, he led the NFL in yards from scrimmage 4 straight years. You know, he was a beast.
Yes, sir.
And what was it? All-around yards. I mean, I think he was, there you go, became the first man to rush for 20. Is that? No, that's wrong. I have the wrong guy here. But I know he led the NFL. I think it was 2 years in a row for all-around yards, receiving,
Mhm.
and running. Yeah, all-purpose yards. To me, he was the best all-around back until Marshall Faulk, maybe. That's
Mm.
my opinion on Thurman. I'll have arguments with everybody about it, because they would say, "Oh, like Barry," but to me, Barry Sanders wasn't a good receiver out the back.
Mm.
So
That's a good point. That's a good point. Thurman Thomas was a man. I liked his hands. I liked the way he ran in between the tackles. He was shifty, but he wasn't scared to run up inside the tackles.
mhm.
Great hand. And between Jim Kelly, him, and Reed, that was. I mean, I don't know any other trio that was so gelled like they were. You know what I mean? In any other team, pretty much.
Oh man, if
Hey,
you watch
Kyle, by the
his
way, we did
highlights,
say. I'm sorry. Kyle put happy birthday, Josh Allen. Yeah, we touched that on the beginning of the show. It's his
yeah,
24th birthday. Happy birthday, Josh.
yeah, we said it. Thurman, man, if you watch some of these games, I was watching actually one of the 1992 games against the Raiders. I think it was in '92. I'm not sure when we
Mhm.
beat them in the playoffs. These catches, man, Thurman was like a receiver out there. He would catch
Yeah.
anything and everything. The other guy I wanted to put for my second running back, it's a little iffy. If you go by the man's work on the field, it was the Juice. Juice to me was second, even though he had a 2,000-yard rushing,
That's my man.
year.
That's my man.
To me, he's behind Thurman because Thurman to me was all around a better back. And my honorable mention would be Fred Jackson. Looking at the Buffalo Bills stats, I was surprised to see like he ranks, I believe, third amongst yards and
The
backs.
numbers,
Me
the
some Fred
numbers he
Jackson,
put up.
baby.
Hold on. What's up, Bobby?
I love me some Fred Jackson.
There you go. Look at that.
The
So
numbers
good.
were incredible for what he put up for the years that he's here. He's what 6, 7 years? 6, 7
He's a
seasons?
great player, for God's sakes, you know?
Yeah, he's awesome. Awesome player. I kind of felt bad when it went down the way it went down when we let him go. But business is business, I guess. But he still has love for Buffalo. Nothing bad to say about Buffalo. Like I said, the numbers he put up for the years that we're here was awesome. Thanks, Bobby.
What's crazy
But
is he ranks third in Bills history with 5,600 yards and 30 rushing touchdowns. His 30 rushing touchdowns are the fourth most in our team. He had 322 catches for 2,640 yards, ranks fifth in team history, with 8,286 yards from scrimmage. His 78.2 yards per game average is third best behind only OJ and Thurman. Like you said, man, this was a guy Marv Levy actually found, the great Marv Levy. He found that he gave this guy a chance, and he went crazy. Just imagine if he would have had a full career with the Bills.
Man, it would have been incredible. But my guy, which is your second guy, is OJ Simpson. He's the reason that I became a Buffalo Bills fan as a kid. Juice, let loose the juice, what they used to say.
Yeah.
I mean, 72, he rushed over 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. In 73, he became the first player, you mentioned it before, to break 2,000-yard rushing mark with 2,003 yards and 12 touchdowns. He broke the mark in the last game of the season against the New York Jets with a 7-yard rush. That same game, he also broke Jim Brown's single-season rushing record of 1863, which I think has been broken by that time. Like right now, it's been who got that right now? Is it
Was it the kid?
who got the who?
Was it the kid out of Baltimore a while back? I don't remember. I can't tell you right now.
Yeah. But anyway, he was the first guy to break 2,000 yards, and that was when they only played 14 games a season. So who knows if they would have had a 16-game season back then? He would probably had 2,200, which would have been crazy numbers. But look at it now. He was a great runner. I don't know if you were old enough to remember the Hertz commercials when he used to jump over the suitcase. So in your opinion, watching those commercials, OJ Simpson, guilty or not guilty?
That's another topic. My thing is this. Listen, he was exonerated or whatever. He didn't get. He wasn't guilty during the first trial. Civil court, he was guilty. I mean, if I was to look at it.
Well, but the way he jumped those suitcases at his age, I don't know.
Yeah, but he wasn't at that age when that happened. It's a whole different thing. I don't even want to get involved with that.
We go with it. Doug Flutie was awesome too. Doug Flutie was awesome. I think he's ranked on the top. Somebody put David Brown put Doug Flutie. Doug Flutie was great. He was on. I think he's on the top 100 all-time Bills list. He was an awesome player. He was shifty. I think there was one year he only had 3 interceptions, which was crazy numbers. Just to have 3 interceptions for the whole year.
So that was in 2000, where he threw 1.3% interception rate and 3 picks in 2000 led the league. No, he was a beast. It just drives me crazy. For the longest time, I blamed Wade Phillips for not starting him against the Tennessee Titans at that time. Or the Music City Miracle should have never happened if Doug Flutie would have started. I found out later on, it was told that what's his name? It was Ralph Wilson. May he rest in peace. He chose to start Johnson, or told him to start Johnson. We would have won that game because they wouldn't have gotten to Flutie. All right, we on a little time. We got to move. So let's go on to fullback there. We both agree on this one. Sam Gash. Just for the people who maybe say Cookie Gilchrist. To me, I watched some Cookie Gilchrist highlights and stuff. To me, he was more of a running back and not a fullback. Even though he was listed as a fullback, he ran more as a tailback. So that's why I had Sam Gash. Sam Gash was a hard hitting. He was like a battering ram, what fullbacks are supposed to be. Just hit you in your mouth, get that hole open for Willis McGahee, I believe it was at the time, or whoever it was. But this guy was a monster.
I love this guy. He was a big dude, like you said. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. He actually won a Super Bowl, I believe, with the Green Bay Packers.
No, it was Baltimore, the Ravens. I believe he won with.
Okay, my bad. Thank you for being there. But I know he did get a ring. He was drafted actually by the New England Patriots in '92. And what else? There was something that I remember about him. He was being the first back in NFL history to be selected in the Pro Bowl without even carrying a ball during the regular season.
I didn't know that. See?
Yep.
You got all the good stuff.
He did. He won. I got my notes here. Thanks for correcting me, but he did win in 2000 with the Ravens. Then he was cut by New Orleans one day before the training camp began in 2004.
And that's when he came back.
That's when he came back. Yep, but he was released the first day of training camp. They let him go. But how is that? How is that to make the Pro Bowl without even carrying the ball not even one time? That's what stuck out to me.
He did what he had to do, and that was open holes for the running back, man. He like I said, nowadays you have to be a battering ram with good hands to be a fullback, because fullbacks really don't exist, sad to say. After fullback, let's go to wide receivers. My wide receiver lineup, starting on the outside, would be Eric Moulds, Lee Evans, and Andre Reed in the middle, doing his thing in the middle like he's done most of his career, even though he did play outside as well. We got to see Eric Moulds and Lee Evans play a little together before they shipped Moulds off once Lee Evans proved he was a number one. Bills always had an issue, except for the early 90s with Jim Kelly, to have a 1-2 punch. They kept getting rid of one of them once they started gelling. So I think that would have been a nasty lineup. Eric Moulds, Lee Evans, Andre Reed. Who are your starting receivers?
I had Moulds, Evans, and actually I had Don Beebe. I don't know if you remember Don Beebe.
Yeah, I like Don Beebe, man.
I like Don Beebe. You don't like Don Beebe?
No, I did.
You like Don Beebe?
No, I like Don Beebe. I remember him slapping the ball out of Leon Lett's hand. And
no kidding, man. That's the man. You don't like Don Beebe?
No, I always liked him, but not for my starters. When you had Eric Moulds, I think Lee Evans and Andre Reed. Don
Beebe was good as a receiver, and he was also good in special teams. I mean, this kid was I think he was an all-around package. Even though he was small, he was one of the fastest people on the field. I remember going to a game against the Jets, and I remember him getting knocked out cold on national TV. I mean, he literally was just stiff as a board on that game. That's what I remember about him the most. But I think he was a member of the team that lost all 4 Super Bowls too. So, and he did force that fumble in the Super Bowl. Even though we were getting blown away, he actually hustled and forced that fumble in the end zone and went out of bounds. But how can you not like the guy? I mean, what is it that you don't like about him?
I never
Not as
said
a
I didn't
safety.
like him. I never said that. I mean, you could go with James Lofton. You could have
You
went
go
with
with
Don
them.
Beebe. But to me, like we said, it's not about who is the best at that time. It's who we like the most.
Yeah,
You see,
I
this
love
is
Don Beebe, man.
there you go. See, this is the thing. And Steve Tasker will come up later, Kyle. This is like I told you, there's going to be people who say, what? What about this guy? What about that guy? My thing, Don Beebe, I always liked him. And I was happy because I believe he was the only guy from those 1990 teams that actually got to win a Super Bowl with Green Bay.
Man, that was my honorable mention too.
Yeah. Well, I'll mention him later. So we're going to go to tight ends. I think we actually agree on this one. Pete Metzelaars. Well, that was my guy. I don't know about you. The crazy looking redhead, Pete Metzelaars. I believe he was number 88 or whatever it was. I think it was 88.
88 and 89. He was both numbers.
He would always be there for those dump passes if Kelly needed him, man. If nobody else was open, you always knew Pete was going to be around. The guy was a beast. I don't think he got as much credit as he probably should have with these teams. I mean, there was a lot of talent in the 90s, but the guy to me was a beast. Who's your starting tight end?
I got him also, Pete Metzelaars. I mean, he was awesome. You pretty much covered him, but he played 16 seasons with 383 receptions for 3686 and 29 touchdowns in 235 games. Now, at that point in time of his retirement, his 235 games were the most ever played by a tight end in NFL history. But I think that's been broken by, I think it was Tony Gonzalez, I believe. I'm not sure. But at that time, it was 235 games for a tight end. And my other tight end, believe it or not, is Jay Riemersma. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember him too.
Remember?
Yep. Yeah. You know, I didn't think about him, but because what's his name always pops in my head first, Pete Metzelaars. But yeah, Riemersma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a baller. He actually was a quarterback from Michigan, and he suffered a rotator cuff injury. So then they moved him to tight end. He was drafted at as a 35 pick in the 7th round, believe it or not, in 1996 draft, and he spent 7 years from 1996 to 2002 and appeared in 90 games, 65 as a starter, as a tight end, and he had 221 receptions for 2,300 yards and 20 touchdowns. So I like the kid. I always remember him. I always remember he always had a knack to get open, and his name was always being called. Man, I remember as a kid, I just liked the kid. I liked the way he balled out, and that's who I went with.
Still ranks second amongst Bills tight ends. So there's your 1-2 punch in Bills history right there, I believe. So, all right. Now we're going to get to the ugly guys, the guys who don't get as much credit as they probably should. I mean, they should get the credit. I'm going to start off with my left tackle, I'll go, was Will Wilford. I know I'm going back in the day, but Will Wilford is one of those guys also that like Steve Kelly, Reed, all these guys, Thurman, are trying to push to get into the Hall of Fame. I believe he's not. Let's see. He was a member of the NFL's 1986 rookie team, 5-time Pro Bowl selection, member of the Bills Hall of Fame. All right, is that the one? Or did I skip somewhere? Oh, I skipped. I messed up my notes here. But anyway.
He was with the Bills from 86 to 92 because I picked him too, by the way. I got him as a
his whole career, right? He was with the Bills?
No, he was with the Bills. Then he went to the Colts from 93 to 95, and he went to the Pittsburgh Steelers from 96 to 98. So he did jump around. He actually made 3 Pro Bowls, not 5. It was in 90, 92, and 95. One with the Bills, and 2 with the Bills and 1 with the Colts. He was second team All-Pro. He was inducted to Kentucky Hall of Fame. He played 191 games. But that's my guy right there, man. When you said his name, I was cracking up because that's who I got also.
So actually, I might have gotten some other guy mixed up with the one I was saying about Kelly and them, but I think Will Wilford was one. If I go to my other tackle, he might not have been the best tackle for the Bills, but I always remembered he was a big guy. I always thought, he blocked well. He didn't get to play, I think, as long as he could have, and that was Howard Ballard. Big Howard Ballard. I thought he was a beast for the Bills while he played. I think injuries hurt him, but That was my second guy, my tackle. Who was your other tackle?
Mine was big old John Fina. You
All right.
remember him?
Yeah.
He was he played out of University of Arizona, and he was drafted by the Bills in the first round in 1992. He was the 27th overall. He played in 2 of the Super Bowls. Of course, we lost both of them to Dallas Cowboys. But this guy was a great tackle, and these guys don't get a lot of recognition. Like I was telling you, when you watch the games and when you're a young kid, you look at the skilled players, and these are guys that get overlooked. But John Fina was one of them guys that stood out on the line.
Yeah, he started 131 games out of 148 for the Bills while he played for them. It's pretty damn good. Now, if we go to guards, I believe we both have this guy, Reuben Brown. Big Reuben Brown was one of my offensive guards. Yep. I like that guy. He was a beast over there. There's nothing bad to say about Reuben Brown.
No, man, he was baller, man. That's who I got also. He started left guard. He was named to 8 AFC Pro Bowl teams, man, from 96 to 2003 to 2003. And do you remember the game, the home run throwback game against the Titans? Does that recall?
I don't think so.
About that? Okay, we'll leave that one alone. We got a 3-time Walter Payton Award. He became a free agent after the 2007 season, and he wanted to return to the Bears, but he didn't actually return. He said that he liked the 3-year stint with the Bears that he did, and it rejuvenated his career. But after that, he was done. Yeah, man. But this guy, Reuben Brown, was a big guy. Just an awesome guy, man. Let me see what he did. He played for the Bills from 95 to 2003, Chicago Bears from 04 to 07. He's a 9-time Pro Bowler, 4-time second team All-Pro. He was on the Buffalo Bills 50th anniversary team, just a little tidbit there. High school All-American, 3-time All-Big East in college. He played 181 games and started 181 games. Every game he played, he started in. That's some great numbers for a guard.
Yeah. My other guard, I mean, you can have him either where he was drafted as a guard, I believe out of Louisville, was Eric Wood. So I don't have him as center. I have somebody else at center. I have him at guard. And I mean, he was forced to retire with his neck condition. But the guy, he started all 120 games he played for the Bills. He was an anchor. He got a little slower towards the end over there, and they moved him back, I think, to fill the need at center, and he did a great job at center. You could pick him center or guard. I have him as a guard.
That's who I picked as my center. Is Eric Wood. Fortunately, like you said, his career was cut short by a neck injury, and I believe he played in the game to where he thought he could play like at 80%, and after that he couldn't clear a physical, and then he was done after that, man. But that's who I got as my center.
Yeah, Eric Wood always reminds me also of the kid from Bad Santa. His curly hair. He kind of looks like it to me. My center, this was the guy I was thinking of, was Kent Hull. Kent Hull, to me, I mean, that's going back to the 90s and early 80s or whatever. He was a beast. He held down that center line for Kelly all those years. I mean, there's nothing wrong to say. I believe Kent also had that big neck roll back in the day.
Yeah, the big one.
So that's my starting center, Kent Hull. Who did you have?
That's what I had. I had Eric Wood as my center.
Oh, no. Okay, so who was your other guard then? You never said the guard.
I had a twist up. I had Richie Incognito.
Okay.
And I had Reggie McKenzie also. So that's who I had for my guard.
All right, so my honorable mentions, the guys I didn't have there actually was Jason Peters, who was a tight end, and they converted him to offensive tackle. He's had a great career as offensive tackle. He left the Bills to go to, I believe, the Eagles, and that was more money. Again, at one point the Bills were strapped for cash, so I don't know if they didn't pay him or what. Another one, like you said, I love Richie Incognito. Besides his craziness, off the field or whatever, or on the field, the problems he had as a football player, the guy was nasty, and that's what you wanted, especially at guard, pulling and just driving people into the ground. And for a while, I had forgot the Bills actually, I think, drafted this guy. They drafted him, let him go. He came back eventually later on in his career. The guy was a monster. And the other guy you said, John Fina, he was a beast, that guy. I liked him. Again, I think towards the end of his career, I think he wanted more money than we could give, or somebody outbidded us for us at that time. These guys are beasts.
Now with Richie Incognito he was a baller, and I have him as like my honorable mention. But I think all the off-field stuff that he had kind of tarnished his like people's view of him. Even though he was a baller, but he was always getting in trouble. The reports of him calling other players names and racial slurs and his temper and everything. If you separate the two, he was awesome, an awesome baller. You know what I'm saying? But with all those off field, it kind of put a little bit of bad taste in my mouth. But I still have him as an honorable mention.
Yeah, no, like you said, that happened in Miami when they were like, tell them to toughen up the guys. And it's a different league from back in the day when, you could do and say these things and not get in trouble.
Yeah.
So they got him in trouble. I'm surprised he actually got a gig with the Raiders last year, and he's still on their team. Good for him.
He's still on their team.
He seems to be staying out of trouble. Football talent.
So how did that happen that he failed his physical for his neck, kind of retires for you and comes back? Is he able to pass the physical?
Well, I guess so. Wood, or you mean Incognito?
Oh, I was talking about Woods. I'm sorry.
No, Woods never was able to come back. His neck, they said it was pretty bad.
I thought you were talking about Woods. I don't know where I got sidetracked, but I thought he was talking about Woods. But Incognito's back over there with the Raiders. Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out, because we're going to be going over there.
But the guy's a beast, man. So you want to recap your team, or you threw your papers away?
No, I'm good. I got a list over here. My quarterback's Jim Kelly, running back O.J. Simpson, my fullback Sam Gash, tight end Pete Metzler, my other one's Jay Remersma, wide receiver Eric Moles, Steve Tasker, my guard Reuben Brown. I also had as an honorable mention Stevie Johnson. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember Stevie.
Yep. Offensive guard, another one, Reggie McKenzie. Center, Eric Wood. Richie Incognito, outside as an honorable mention. My other wide receiver that you don't like is Don Beebe.
I don't like him.
My tackle, and I liked him just because of the way he hustled, man. That's one of the guys that just balled out. He just balled out no matter what. We were getting blown away, 52-20, and he ran all the way across the field to get that fumble. Come on, man. How can you not like a baller like that? You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, these guys would have just walked following them. You know what I mean? They would just walk it on. I got Will Wilford for my tackle and John Fina for my tackle. That makes up my offense, all-time offense for Buffalo Bills.
All right, my starting squad, same as you, Jim Kelly, but I had Thurman Thomas. OJ would have been my backup. Starting receivers, Eric Olds, Andre Reed, and Lee Evans. Listen, I do like Don Beebe. He just wasn't on my starting three. That's is my tight end. Will Wilford, my tackle. Reuben Brown, my guard. Kent Hull, my center. Eric Woods, my guard. And Howard Ballard, my other tackle. And finish it off with my fullback, Sam Gash. One thing we did forget to say was kicker. I had Steve Christie. Listen, no disrespect to Scott Norwood. I think we would have won the game if it was on turf, but it was on grass, and his numbers on grass were not that good. When he went up, I think it was my brother was like, "Oh, you guys are going to win this." And I was like, "It's not 100% because it's grass." Another guy, my punter, was Brian Mormon. I actually talked to him one time during a Bills-Jets game. I was on the field. I think I had a Jets T-shirt. I'm like, "Yo, Brian, let's get this win today." He's like, "Huh? What? Jets here?" I'm like, "Dude, I have to wear this. I work here." And I think I had something Bills underneath. He was like, "Oh, okay, cool, man." And my special teamer, he could have been a receiver too, Steve Tasker. I mean, probably the best special teams guy ever, all around. And there's a push for him to get into the Hall of Fame as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I had Brian Mormon also as a punter, Steve Christie as a kicker. But just a quick stat: in 15 NFL seasons for Steve Christie, he converted 336 out of 431 for 77% of field goals. But what was impressive was 468 out of 473 extra points. That was like 98.3%. So it gave him 1,476 total points. But that number there for the field goals, the extra points, the extra points that is, 468 out of 473. I mean, he only missed like 4 out of almost 500, which is incredible. And I also have Steve Tasker as a special teamer. I think if you look at special teamers, his name is what everybody wants to be like. He's the number one special team out of any team, not only the Buffalo Bills, but out of any NFL team. I believe Steve Tasker is number one. I mean, he was a 7-time Pro Bowler, 7-time first-team All-Pro. I mean, the numbers were insane with him. I mean, he was a gunner, so which means he's usually the first one down the field. So he was super fast. I don't know what his time was. I don't remember what his time was back in the day. But he would get there first. You know what I mean? Steve Tasker was my guy. Yeah. And for my kick returner on my special team was Leotis McKelvin. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember Leotis. I liked him too. I forgot what school he came out of. But I forgot to pick a returner, but McKelvin was probably one of our better punt returners in a long time, even kickoff returners. So, yeah, I liked him. Just a little tidbit. Just imagine these guys like Kelly, Elway, Marino, Montana playing in this kind of football league that there is now where you can't touch the quarterback and you can't really beat up on these wide receivers. Just imagine their numbers, what they would have been. Just imagine
been crazy numbers. Crazy numbers.
Imagine like Terrell Owens, Moss's, and Jerry Rice's numbers. Jerry Rice would have almost had triple his numbers. It's insane.
Pretty much, yeah. Hey, real quick, I had a note on Pete Metzler. I just looked up. I forgot I had it. In 92 against the 49ers. And the reason why I wrote it down, because I remember he had 3 touchdowns in that game, and it was a game where we never punted against the 49ers. And the 49ers back then, you know, with the dynasty and all that stuff, that was pretty cool for us not to even punt. And Pete Metzler, we used him a lot in that game. 3 touchdowns against the 49ers in 1992. So that was a side note I forgot to give you on your Pete Metzler.
No, Pete was a beast. You know who wasn't a beast? Don Beebe.
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm kidding.
My man. Come on now.
I like Don Beebe. Don Beebe. I always liked him. He was good. Did you see the video of Tyler Bass just kicking these field goals? Like,
you see 5 yards the other day. I saw him kicking.
Yeah, it was like nothing. So Steven Hauschka's got somebody breathing hard on his back.
There's going to be a lot of people are going to have to earn their job on the Buffalo Bills 2020 team. There's going to be a lot of people, quarterbacks, kickers. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe this year. But I like it. I like the competition. I like them pushing each other. I like that they're working out all season a lot. You know, Josh was in California a couple of weeks ago. Then he went back down to Florida to get his core guys, his skill guys on the same page. So that's some good stuff, man. I'm looking forward to the season.
All right. Oh, it's coming to that time. Hey, Bobby, are you there? Want to know if there's anything we have to hit? Anybody say anything? So I know we're coming to a close.
What's up, fellas?
All right,
What's
Bobby,
up, Bobby?
What do we got to take care in-house? What are the shows going on, or who
else? Hey, guys, great show so far. There's been consistent viewership. It's been phenomenal. I've got a lot of good responses. For those of you who are watching now, or going to be jumping on or watching on our various outlets, coming up at 9 p.m., 9:05 p.m. would be Beyond the Buzzer Sports with Danny and Kyle. So just look forward to that. We'll probably go offline for about 5 minutes. We're right back at 9 o'clock, 9:05 with Beyond the Buzzer Sports. But guys, great show, man. Great show. Keep it up.
Thanks, Bobby. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but remember I mentioned Fred Jackson before.
Yes.
Fred Jackson and Mark went to the same college. That's how we found them.
Oh, really?
You look it up. They both went to Cole College.
That's a Cole College.
That's how we found Fred Jackson at a D3 school. Like I said, if I ever I do want to buy a Buffalo Bills jersey, it's going to be Fred Jackson, my favorite player of the Bills of all time.
Wow, all time. No,
Yes,
he
sir.
was a beast. I like him. I don't think they should have ever gotten rid of Marshawn Lynch for CJ
No.
Spiller.
No,
You
no,
would've had,
you're right. Yeah.
yeah, you would have had a nasty 1-2 punch with those two guys.
Woo.
So everybody who's watching, stick around for brother shows coming up next, and we're about to sign off, and we'll see you next week. The topic I don't know yet. We'll hit it up on our Facebook pages or wherever you'll be able to see them, and we'll see you again next week at 7:30. For Big Man Vinny, peace.
What's
We'll
up?
see you
Y'all have a good
out.
one.
And Bobby Blackjack, peace out, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Dave.